3. Shh. Quiet for a second. We're going live. Good evening and welcome to the early late night live show. Now, I have to read a monologue because I'm actually not been lazy and actually have written monologues this past couple weeks, which makes me sort of proud of myself. I don't have many reasons to be proud of myself. So I'm going to take this one. But the problem is I don't actually have a teleprompter, so I actually got to look at my computer. So I'm not ignoring you. I'm actually reading it from here because I can't memorize it because I'm not that good of an actor. It has happened. The world has been flipped on its head. The world of entertainment has become a true democracy. Some may say that sequels and series and remakes are the signs of the entertainment industry being a sort of democracy based within the free market, but it isn't. Hollywood always has and always will be a crapshoot. A good old-fashioned crapshoot. Roll the dice and hope to God in heaven you don't get snake eyes or odds or whatever. I don't actually know how to play craps. But we recently spoke with a Hollywood executive who said, quote, "You don't get snake eyes. We're basically like a bunch of spoiled rich kids who are given an amazing amount of money to take a chance on a statistically unproven industry, and we're considered geniuses when we get it right and artists when we get it wrong. Not a bad gig," unquote. But amongst the unbelievably high amount of failed crapshoots that Hollywood has taken, one of the most recent was the debacle that was Justice League. After much moaning and complaining, the fans are finally getting the release of the highly anticipated Snyder Cut. The much hated and despised theatrical release version of the film, the final cut directed by Joss Whedon, followed the story of a very well-spoken, evil, powerful being hell-bent on taking over the world, who is thwarted by a plucky group of heroes who have to put aside their differences to save the world, ending in a highly destructive battle without any signs of realistic collateral damage. Wait, isn't that the same plot as The Avengers? The Avengers Age of Ultron? Captain America Winter Soldiers? Guardians of the Galaxy? Guardians of the Galaxy 2? Avengers Infinity War? Superman? Lois and Clark? Avengers Endgame? And Star Wars? And Star Trek? It's like the same plot as all of them. So why is this film so much worse than them? I don't care. Either way, there's also a movie about a man dressed as a bat being played by a man who was a vampire or a werewolf or whatever. I don't remember or care. It's your late night live show on every Wednesday night from 7 to 8. We'll be back. So I don't know if it's controversial for me to say Justice League has the exact same plot as all those movies that I just mentioned. All these supposedly great films had the same damn plot as Justice League. So anyway, I think I watched Justice League. I think, Arnie, when we were flying to Sweden, I watched it then. It was,
yes, I remember you kept punching me on the plane saying, "This is awesome."
It was pretty good. I liked it, actually. It was pretty good. I'm looking forward to the Snyder Cut. Anyways, it's your late night live show. We're on every Wednesday night from 7 to 8 on Exeter Channel 98 and on our YouTube channel, the Early Late Night Live Show YouTube channel. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends and enemies alike. I just realized I got to be looking at the comment section, and I haven't been doing that right now. Our special guest tonight is Tim Ayer. He is the owner of Model Club. And he's going to be sitting in for Trailer Trash because we coerced him. Sitting with me always, unfortunately, is my sister. I almost called you my sister Mitch, but actually I really bad.
We're becoming interchangeable.
My sister KJ, and Mitch Fortier is back in action because he doesn't like the games I played, so he made sure to show up this week. Right, Mitch?
Somebody's got to keep this show interesting.
Somebody's got to keep the show. Yes, exactly. All right. Arnie, what is the trailer we have up today?
All right, the trailer we have up today is called The Batman. Can we roll that, please?
I'm Batman.
All right, we have to stop there then to get through this. So The Batman is an upcoming American superhero film based on the DC comic character, the same name. It's directed by Matt Reeves, who also wrote the screenplay with Peter Craig. It stars Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, I think I'm saying that right, apologies if I'm not, and it also has Andy Serkis, I think I'm saying that right too, and Colin Farrell. The Batman is set during Batman's second year of fighting crime and follows him as he explores Gotham City's corruption.
Now, I actually lied a little bit in my opening monologue. I lie a lot, but actually I lied a little bit. The quote wasn't a real quote, in case you guys couldn't tell. But I'm actually very excited about this movie. Me and Hannah, my girlfriend, we're huge Batman fans. I don't even play video games, but she got me playing Batman video games. That's pretty much all we play is Batman. Any video game I play is just a Batman video game because it's Batman. But anyways, Mitch Fortier, what are your thoughts on this trailer?
I remember playing Batman Arkham City was one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah.
On the PC, anyways.
Yeah.
So, okay, super dark. This whole thing really, really dark. It's I was trying to why this just feels really familiar. I'm not sure what's going on here, but then it occurred to me and it clicked. The Joker, the whole stylization, the super real is extra. I don't know. How do you
hyperrealism?
Hyperrealism. That's a good one. It just felt like it was just it was video game-esque intensity and but obviously clearly very dark. I think it looks great as Batman. I think it's going to be interesting to kind of watch and see how many lines he actually has. But the fight scene looked pretty cool. I did notice that there was an awful lot of people in that hallway in a crime scene. I thought that was kind of interesting. Yeah, it just looks really super dark and it's a far cry from where Batman started. That's for damn sure. So if you're a purist, this is not going to be your movie as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
But I'm looking forward to it.
All right, Arnie, what's your thoughts on this?
Okay, so I'm going to keep it kind of brief because Terry's going to pop a blood vessel, I think. I looked at this and I actually thought it's really dark. This looks like they're going back to the comic book origins where it's really more of a detective thing going on, where he's more of a detective, well-trained detective. However, I will say when I watched it, I thought, well, that's kind of cool, but I don't know why we're having another reboot of Batman. It feels like we've done this so many times before.
Wait, what?
Why was my question.
Why are they making another Batman movie?
Yes.
Why are they making another Batman movie?
No, why are they rebooting the origin?
Why is there another Batman movie coming out? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it seems like we've had a lot.
What the hell's the matter with you? Right? What's wrong with you? Do you want to go back in time and tell Van Gogh he's just painting too many paintings and he really ought to stop at this point?
I would probably just tell him put the knife down.
Are you gonna call up Christopher Nolan and say, "Yo, Chrissy, my boy, quit making movies"? All right. I'm sorry. Are you going to be upset if they make another Zorro movie, Arnie? I'm sorry. Is that really going to upset you?
Hey, that's been 15 years.
Are you really going to upset you if suddenly Zorro comes back onto the screen? I'm sorry. This is like I went to see every friggin' Marvel movie all with the same damn plot. All right. That is a question. But when they reboot a Batman movie, you're like, why are they doing another Batman movie? Are you serious? What the hell's the matter with you? I don't even know. For all you single guys out there who I usually sort of like, to pimp Arnie out during the show. It's really weird and it's messed up, and I know, and I have to talk to a therapist about this. But usually, for all you single guys out there, if you like Batman, Arnie's email address is below. Send her a scathing email and don't ask her out. Okay. You have anything else to add, you despicable individual, you?
Well, I was doing some deep thought about this because I figured you'd burst a blood vessel when I said that. Because I did actually feel this, and then I thought, you know what, Arnie, that's not fair, because Batman is sort of like the male version, the guy's version of Jane Austen, and we can remake those until the cows come home, and everybody's gonna want to see it. So, yeah.
Did you just compare Batman to Jane? You're not talking for the rest of the segment. Okay. Tim, do you have anything to say about this trailer?
Well, I think it's interesting seeing, even though you don't get much Robert Pattinson, seeing him. I have a bit of a tough time breaking away from Twilight and him as an actor. Has he done many more darker movies like this, or is this really a big change in his career?
He's done a lot of independent films. One of the big ones that came out big in the sense of all the artists were talking about how wonderful it is, though probably most people haven't seen it, was The Lighthouse. Was one of the ones he did recently. And it got a lot of It got a lot of talk, but I don't think it really made any money. And he's done a decent amount, and he's coming out. Isn't he in the new Christopher Nolan movie that's coming out too? Actually,
Yes, he's in Tenet.
I thought I told you not to talk. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, that's right. He's in Tenet.
Yeah.
Well, clearly, Batman lives in a cave, so he plays into the whole, white skin thing. So
Yeah.
it's like his thing, I think.
Yeah, he's got a vampire thing going on.
A really interesting thing about this trailer was that they have only shot 25% of the film.
That's
because of COVID and still managed to put this trailer together.
Which sounds like no idea when this might actually come out, other than the trailer's been released.
Wait a second. I'm sorry. I gotta ask. Wait a second. He played a vampire in those silly movies?
Yeah, he was the twinkly vampire.
And now he's playing a bat.
Yeah.
Why did I not think of this before?
He's regressing.
Oh, okay.
He's de-evolving.
So I actually want to talk about my feelings on this trailer, if that's okay. Yeah.
Let's play Terry's therapist. How do you feel, Terry?
So me and my girlfriend, again, we're big Batman fans. And we talked for hours the other night trying to figure out who would be cast to play the Riddler right now. Because I think this film has to do with the Riddler, hence the question marks and stuff like that on it. I'm really excited about the fact that it goes back to Batman being a bit more of a detective. I like the fact that we have a younger guy. Maybe he's going to play Batman more than twice, which would be exciting about that. It looks more like the TV show Gotham, which I watched pretty much most of the first season. It's a series that I do want to watch, and I like the kind of gritty, comic booky type of feel. I like the fact we're leaning away from everything looking like a Martin Scorsese film with Christopher Nolan, and we're going more into an actual comic book film. And I think this feels more like Batman Begins in the way it looked, which is what I really, really liked. Batman Begins is one of my favorite Batman movies, if not my favorite. So I am really interested in this. I like Robert Pattinson for the sake of the fact that he's young. I like we're finally seeing a young Batman again. I like how he looks as Bruce Wayne, and this is a shot where he dives, does a classic hero thing, dives and saves a kid, as a car is careening towards him. That's a very Batman thing to do. I mean, in Batman Year One, he saves a cat from getting shot in the middle of the shootout. He grabs this cat that was being freaked out and throws the cat out the window to save it. It sounds silly, but I like the fact of remembering that Batman is a good guy. Like he really is trying to do the right thing. And so a simple, cheesy, straightforward, good guy thing to do, which, let's be honest, in a comic book is kind of a good place for it. I'm all for it. I like him in the suit. I love the look. I love the actor I'm guessing is playing Jim Gordon. I'm really excited about him. He played Felix Leiter in the Bond series, and he does really good as that. I like the villain. I like the creepiness. I like that it feels more like a horror film. I'm really excited about that. Only issue I have with the film is that he looks small in the suit next to everybody else. And that's a very Michael Keaton problem. Michael Keaton was a great Bruce Wayne. He was an okay Batman. And they tried to trick you into how big he was, but when he's running next to Vicky Vale, they're the same height.
Oh, that was the other one. What was up with the homeless looking Catwoman?
Yeah,
I actually kind of like that. I was like, oh, that makes sense why they call her Catwoman, because of her hat.
Well, and the other thing which is good is that if this is year 2, it's not an origin story, which I'm very glad about. That we're probably just getting thrown in that it's Batman. I'm very excited about this. I really am really excited about it. I do think he looks a little small for the part. If you can make Tom Hardy, who got up to 180 pounds to play the part of Bane. I am 180 pounds. I am not the size of Bane. All right. And he's 5'9", which means he's an inch taller than me, which, by the way, is not tall. It's not.
Yeah, Bane looked huge.
If you make him look huge, I don't know why they can't make him look this big. That's it. Anyways, we got to get into the ratings. Arnie, what's your rating for this? Don't talk, just show, because you're not allowed to. Oh, wow. Hang on a second.
It did look good. I just don't know why they're making it.
You give it 2 thumbs up. Okay. All right. Mitch?
Yep.
All right. I'm going to go 2 solid thumbs up, too. Hello, Christine Alton. Hello, Kate Eppers. Hello, Bob Turinjo. And Tim, what is your rating for this?
I I'm going 2 thumbs up as well.
Nice. All around 2 thumbs up. Take that, Arnie.
Solid teaser.
All right. We're going to break. When we come back, we'll have an interview with our great guest, Tim Ayer, to talk about what he does to help little artists like you. And that sounded very demeaning, and it was meant to be. But anyways, all right. We'll be back in a minute.
Okay, now that we have a growing audience.
Growing?
Yes, YouTube subscribers.
We got like 2 subscribers in the past month.
Okay, well, it's still growing, Dave. Anyways, we need to think about sponsors. Who would be interested in sponsoring us?
Restaurants.
Possibly.
Chain stores.
Unlikely.
The U.S. Army. Why would the U.S. Army sponsor us?
Why would anyone sponsor us?
Because we're...
Dave, do we know anyone in the U.S. Army?
Yes, Matt. Matt was in the U.S. Army.
KJ, Matt got kicked out of the U.S. Army.
Right. Right.
Welcome back to the Early Late Night Live Show on every Wednesday night from 7 to 8. We have our special guest, Tim Ayer. He is the owner of Model Club Incorporated. You can find out more information about them at modelclub.com, and you can follow him on Instagram at modelclubinc, modelclubinc.com. So, Tim Ayers, am I pronouncing it's Ayer or Ayers? How do you pronounce it?
Ayers, Ayers.
Oh, okay, Ayers. I just want to make sure.
He's more than one Ayer.
He has an air about him. So tell the audience a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Sure. So I own Model Club Inc. We're an agency based in Boston. We do work around New England and a bit in New York. We've been in business for over 30 years now, and I've owned the agency for about 8.5 years. We represent all ages, so we work with newborn babies through elderly adults. We do print work, we do acting, we do runway and fashion. And it really keeps us quite busy, and we have a nice business going on in Boston. We represent a lot of really good actors and models who are working frequently for us. My piece of the business, aside from running it, is I'm the acting agent for our adults. So I basically do all of our TV commercials, our web videos, the movies and TV shows. I'm submitting our actors and booking them for jobs. Anyone from pretty much 16 years old up through probably 85 years old or so. I'm sending them out for those sort of projects around New England.
Oh, very cool, very cool. So you're the owner of it right now, right?
Yes. Yep. So I own the business. I run it day to day, and I'm a full-time agent as well, working with the actors. So it definitely keeps me busy.
So when you said 30 years, it's been in business for 30 years. I thought, there's no way in hell he's old enough to have owned this business for 30 years. Like, I know this.
Oh, I'm secretly 60 years old over here, and
Yeah.
Benjamin Button.
So 8 years ago. So what did you do before this, and how did you end up owning this? Like,
So I've been with the agency for about 15 years now. I actually completely stumbled into the business. There's kind of a long backstory, but I was a history major in college. I went to a liberal arts college in Maine, and I was interested in movie production. And after college, there wasn't much of an industry in Boston. This was pre the tax incentives going on. I actually worked as an extra in Fever Pitch, and sort of spent my week at Fenway Park talking to the crew, the production assistants. I never aspired to be an actor. I wanted to be on the production side. And after talking to a lot of people, I started volunteering for films, volunteering for commercials, and was working as a pretty actively and regularly as a production assistant for a while. And then found a job opening for an assistant at a modeling agency. I didn't really know what I was getting into. It sounded like a cool job at the time. I didn't have a full-time paying job anyway, so I started working there, and really cleaned up the agency, got it going in the right direction. We were pretty much mostly a children's agency at that point. and I built up an adult print division, and then going back probably almost 10 years at this point, started to build an acting division. There really was no tradition of acting agents working in New England. The casting companies here said, oh, Boston will never be a town for acting agents. Most actors were just worked on their own, but started to realize that they had no one who could stand up for them, who would say, well, let's limit the length of a day to a certain amount of time. Let's get you a fair rate for these jobs. And I quickly started signing actors, and then the timing was perfect that we got the tax incentives here. We started to get in the major films that we're shooting here. And then it was kind of like advertising online came along, and we hit at the perfect time for that all of a sudden every day we were shooting web videos and web commercials and commercials for YouTube. And then that evolved into shooting social media commercials. And then the film industry kept growing here. We now have the TV shows that have been shooting here. And last year was by far our best year ever in terms of booking adults for the speaking roles in the films and TV. We booked several dozen speaking roles. I think we had probably more than, possibly close to 15 people who had speaking roles in Defending Jacob that shot here last summer. So it's been...
That was shot, that's with Chris Evans, right?
Yep. So that was the Apple TV series with Chris Evans.
Yeah.
Shot here throughout last summer. And
I didn't know it was based in Boston. That's cool.
Yep. They shot it sort of in the Newton area and in sort of the western suburbs around Boston.
Mm-hmm. Well, Evans is a local boy too, isn't he?
Yep. He's from Sudbury. So I heard that was part of the appeal of him working on the project. Supposedly, was he got to be at home in Sudbury and go to set and didn't have to drive far and got to work here.
Mm-hmm. So this is really cool. There's a lot to the industry that most people don't know about and see about. And it sounds like I was crapping on the industry in my monologue. I was. The industry is a crapshoot in a lot of ways. If you really understand kind of financially how it works, and seeing the disasters, it's like no one should take $100 million gamble, but they do a lot, and sometimes it pays off. And pays off great. When it doesn't, we never hear about it. But it must be cool to be on that side and really on the other side and really get to see kind of the ins and outs. But you said something which really caught my attention is you were beyond just being an agent and being the go-between. Sound like you're a representative to also help actors, get better jobs, not just any job, but like better, as you said, better rate of pay, better hours and stuff, like almost like a union rep in a sort of way.
Yes, I mean, definitely an important part of my job is advocating for the actors. We have a lot of auditions that come in from the casting companies in the Boston area. And what the actors don't necessarily see is a lot of times I'll fight them on rates or usage or what the project is or that sort of thing, sort of the scope of the project, before it even gets to the actors for them to audition. So it may be, well, let's get them more money, or let's shorten the day from 12 hours to 10 hours, or let's cut down the usage so that they can't air this commercial forever. They can only air it for a year or 2 years. So that's sort of an important part of the agent's job that sometimes goes a little unseen, but it's really sort of being an advocate for the actors and trying to get them a fair deal on the projects they're working on.
That's cool. Now, you've worked on as a production assistant? Do you help people also get like set work, or do you just do mainly what's seen on screen, mainly actors and extras and so on?
I don't do any representing of the production side or the crew side or anything like that. That's such a different element of the business. So I don't represent like hair and makeup people. I don't represent production people or directing photography or things like that. It's solely on camera actors, print models, and now we've branched out into doing voiceover.
I was gonna say something about that. Did you just create a new relationship with Lala Pitas?
Yes. So it's a work in progress, but I'm starting to build a voiceover division. We started to see a need for that in Boston. We were getting in more requests for voiceover. And I feel like the timing was right on that. That clients are more open to using people who can record at home, and instead of, for safety reasons, having them come into the studio. So that's sort of a change in the industry that we've seen here just recently is more of a willingness to work with people who aren't going to commute into the studio on the voiceover side.
Now, how often are you actually on set? Do you get to be on set at all, or are you most of your work done at your office or behind a computer?
Sadly, I never get to set. I hear so many great stories. That would be the fun part of the job, or at least the fascinating part of the job. And I don't ever get myself away from the desk. Things change with the pandemic, but in the past, I was generally in the office at my desk for 60 hours a week or so. And I always liked my actors to call me after they had been on set for the movies or TV, or email me and let me know what it was like and how it went, because I could kind of live vicariously through them of the reminiscing being on set. But I have, other than occasionally, if one of the movies or TV shows is shooting in the vicinity of my office, once in a while, I'll get a call sheet. My actors are shooting in the Common or the Public Garden or something like that. I love to walk over and sort of at least scope out the edge, or see if I can make eye contact with one of my actors and have them come over to at least say hi. But that's sort of the extent of my getting out of the office.
It's actually the last time I saw you in person was I was doing a shoot on the Common, and you were walking around, and that's when I mentioned the show. Yeah,
I went to look for your. I know you were on the duck. I don't remember what the commercial was for, except you were.
I was the police officer escorting the ducks around the Common.
Yes, that's right.
I hadn't seen it yet, so if you do find it, let me know.
I actually don't know if I ever saw that one either. It's another weird part of the job is just the sheer number of jobs I work on that I never see, which is more frustrating for the actors and the models is sometimes just never getting to see the stuff they work on. But for me, there's so much of it that we never end up seeing. It doesn't get released, or it's online, but we never see it, or for whatever the reason is.
I'm going to ask you a quick question about last question before we go to our break. When we come back, I'm going to be questioning you about some tips and advice for people who are interested in getting in the industry, and especially for people who are already in the industry. But first of all, how much has the film industry grown in Boston in the recent years?
It's grown drastically, and I think it's grown in two different ways as well. I think just the sheer number of films coming into Boston has, I would guess, increased probably year over year for the last 10 years, to the point that, I mean, last year there may have even been upwards of 15 feature films that shot here. And then the big thing and the big change going back probably 2 years was that we started to get TV shows for the first time. That Smilf shot here, Castle Rock shot here, then onto The Society, which is a Netflix show, Nosferatu, which is on AMC, Defending Jacob. That's huge. And that's truly been one of the things that I feel like has legitimized Boston, that when there's TV shows here, that's far more consistent work for the actors, for the casting, for the crew. Because then you have all the episodes that are shooting, as opposed to just one film for, say, 2 months or so.
And they shot The Wrong Man's pilot in Gloucester last year, or the year before. And I remember we were all talking about, well, do they think they're going to shoot the series here because it's based in a fictitious Massachusetts town? I remember thinking, no, that's not going to happen. But what you're saying, if the show was ever picked up, that may actually be a chance they could shoot the show.
Yes, I think. Yeah. I would say overall we've had somewhat bad luck on pilots that have shot here not being picked up, but at least I do think that we're far more likely that if a pilot shoots here, that they will end up bringing the series here, whereas in the past we'd often see if the pilot shot here and it got picked up, they'd go somewhere else to shoot the season.
Anyways, we gotta go to break. We're a special guest, Tim Ayer. When we come back, we're gonna have we're gonna answer questions in the YouTube and move forward. But we're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to do How You Doing? And then we're going to check it back in with our guests. Stay tuned. Early Late Night Live Show, Wednesday night, 7 to 8.
do this?
Yeah.
Of course. Ready?
What are you guys doing?
Trying to see what type of punch it takes to see stars.
Backhands don't work.
Well, little girly punches like that aren't gonna work either.
Oh, really? So who won?
Shit.
You ladies owe me $5.
Yeah, what he said. Oh, my head hurts.
Yep, absolutely.
And welcome back to the Early Late Night Live Show, Wednesday night, 7 to 8 on Exeter Channel 98 and on our YouTube channel, the Early Late Night Live Show YouTube channel. We're here with our special guest, Tim Ayer, who is the owner of Model Club Incorporated in the Boston area. We're going to have some more questions for him, and some questions to YouTube, and see what we can do to get some good information for actors, people who are trying to be actors, models, and people who already are. But we're going to do our first time test with our new segment of the show. It's only going to take 3 minutes because we have a timer to make sure, called How You Doing? You know, and we're going to start off with Arnie because she came up with this segment. So Arnie, when you see the timer come up, you have 1 minute. Tell everyone how you doing. All right.
All right. I'm excited.
Well, roll the timer, Dan.
Okay, so I'm doing great. First off,
there's no timer, Arnie. You missed.
there is a timer. I can see it.
Oh, I mean, I'm late.
Great. Now you cost me 5 seconds. Anyway, I'm doing great. Right now I got 2 Zoom plays that we're doing on Facebook. One is with I'm helping Steve Blackwood with his new one called Private, which is sort of a film noir style one. And that'll be releasing oh my God, it's September 1st, I believe that it's releasing. But check it out on Facebook. It's called Private, the short film. And then the other thing I'm doing is we're doing a live reading of Evil Under the Sun, which is a Hercule Poirot movie. And George Robert McTire's playing Poirot, and we're going to be doing that Saturday. That's September 19th at 7:30, and I have an event for that, and I'll drop the link below. But I'm super excited. I'm going to be playing one of the suspects, so it'll be fun.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, so that'll be fun to look forward to. Make sure we'll have all that information on our Facebook page. Keep an eye out for that.
Arnie is a suspect.
All right, Mitch Fortier, you're next.
Arnie, you are suspect. So, how am I doing? Well, pretty good. As Tim can contest, the last first 4 months of the year, first 5 months of the year, there was pretty much crickets in the industry as far as shooting and productions are going, and then things started to kind of trickle back in. So I'm pretty excited about that. I've probably seen personally 6 or 7 auditions at least in the last 2.5 weeks or so, and got to edit and send one tonight, which is probably the strangest audition that I think I've ever had. Is literally just you're supposed to be pretending to be a guy, driving a car, pushing buttons on an ATM machine, and then that's it. And you do that with a mask and without a mask. No dialogue. That's it. Oh, by the way, you have to say your name and all that good stuff. But anyway, so I did a shootout in New York. I did some grip work.
Time's up, Mitch.
Things are good.
All right. Now it's my time for how you doing. All right. Once I see the timer, my thing must be slow because I can't always see the timer. Is the timer going? Oh, good. It's blocking Ernie's face. I like that. All right.
Nice.
So how am I doing? I'm doing pretty good. I've been working a lot amidst this whole pandemic thing. I do miss I'm missing coffee. I'm missing going out to eat with friends, and I'm or like I have friends. But I'm missing a lot of like the very social dynamic elements. This show has been so awesome that we still got to do the show. We never missed an episode, which I'm really, really proud of. I want to take a moment. I'm going to take the last 30 seconds to really talk about Arnie, Mitch, Ryan, and Dan Graham, and how hard you guys work on this show. There's been a few weeks I had to be out, and you guys just stepped up to the plate. Mitch with your games, Arnie with handling all the guest stuff, Dan Graham's always on the technical, and Ryan is always silently working in the background, getting us some more audience members. So I just want to say thanks to you guys. You making this pandemic thing very bearable. So I really appreciate y'all. That's my time, and now we're going to head back to our special guest, Tim Ayer, who is the owner of Model Club Incorporated out of Boston. And we're going to go with our first question from Bob Turanjo, who says, how does an actor get an agent?
Well, generally, you want to apply to an agency. And I would research agents and see what they specialize in, what they're looking for, and apply to agents that you fit. And I always encourage people, if you're going to apply, make sure that you feel like you're competitive in the market where you're trying to work, and that you're competitive with the talent that the agent currently represents. So if you're going to apply somewhere as an actor, make sure that you have a good headshot and you have a properly formatted resume and you have some video clips. If you're a model, make sure you don't necessarily need to go out and do a big professional photo shoot, but at least have some good digital pictures that you can submit to the agent to try to sell yourself. I can't tell you how many people apply to us who just send us awful selfies that are poorly framed and poorly lit and probably wouldn't even look good on Snapchat or Instagram, but they're trying to apply to an agency. And you need to do a good job marketing yourself, because agents generally get a lot of submissions, and we go through them and we're limited in who we can meet. And especially during this pandemic time, we're really limited on who we can interview or who we can consider, because we can't even sit down with people in person. We need to try to schedule a Zoom call, and I'm busy enough with work that I'm not doing very many of those at this point. I think since we shut down in early March, I've accepted one adult actor, and I've interviewed one adult actor. So I'm limited. So someone has to really impress me if I'm going to take the time out of what's turned into a pretty busy schedule to talk to them.
All right. Now, amidst this pandemic, in like a few short words or something like that, what would you say is the best thing for actors to do right now? Because the work's not there and everything is shut down. And we were talking about there's probably going to be a lack of entertainment, not this year necessarily, but next year. So what is you say if there's one thing an actor or a model should be doing right now amidst all the shutdown, what would it be?
Well, you definitely want to continue with training and continuing with classes. If you're looking to be a film and TV actor, you want to continue with that training. I feel like a lot of our actors have been taking good classes online. I've had people talking about New York and LA casting directors who are doing online workshops that you can take or online seminars. So I think in some ways it's opened up opportunities that maybe those LA casting directors who would only be doing in-person auditions in the past or in-person classes now are doing Zoom classes that people can jump into. I get the sense that independent films are starting to pop back up. So it's important to keep yourself fresh. I mean, if you were a musician, you wouldn't go 8 months without playing your instrument. And I think for actors, you need to keep working and keep trying to do things during it.
All right. Now I got a question to ask for actors who are trying to get going, get started. Is it good for them to work on like indie projects, local indie projects, if not for no other reason but to get material?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. I think you should be doing those range of student films and independent films and short films and web series and 48-hour film festivals, anything you can do to get on camera, that it is sort of a growing process that when you're starting out, maybe all you've done is taken a class. You have no real way to pitch yourself or show yourself. So you have to go out for the smallest roles, and maybe you book one and you get a clip, and then the next things you're applying for, you can show that clip that you have and then try to get bigger roles. So it really is a continuous learning process. And as I've done work in New York, I had an office in LA for a few years. What really struck me there is actors treated it almost as like a demanding part-time job, that the ones who were successful, or at least taking steps towards being successful, spent a substantial amount of time working outside of their agency, self-submitting for projects, writing their own material, getting together with friends to produce their own work, being in improv groups, taking classes, doing the student films and the short films. I think it's really important to build a base of doing all those things so that you're prepared when you get to the point of being able to go in and audition, even if it's just in Boston. When you go into audition for the speaking roles in the theatrical projects, that you're ready to those to be competitive.
All right. Now, I'm going to ask this question maybe a bit odd, but what is the one thing, if you're getting into the acting field as a young actor or actress, what's the one thing you should watch out for? Without being crude, just in general, Well,
I would be careful of people wasting your time. That I would be careful of projects. If someone says, well, I'm producing a film and you're not going to get paid for it, and I need you to work for the next 12 weekends or something like that, maybe it's going to be an amazing project, but you need to be careful. Well, am I doing a huge time commitment, especially if I'm not getting paid for this sort of thing? Or I have a lot of actors who are frustrated because they'll do a film project and then they'll complete it, and the producer says, well, I want to submit this to a film festival that's a year from now, so I'm not releasing footage to anyone. So now you've spent a few weekends, you spent a week, whatever it is, and have, in a sense, nothing to show for it, because you don't have that footage to put on your reel. And I think especially now with social media, you can kind of check references in a sense if someone is a time waster, or if they really know what they're doing and it's going to be a worthwhile project. You can do an awesome project and not get paid for it, but if you're not getting it paid, I would make sure that it is worthwhile, that you are getting something out of it in return for taking the time to do it.
And not to be any type of bragging, but if any actor who has worked with me in the past, hopefully all of you know this, if you want your footage, you just have to ask me and I'll send it right away to you. Because I know I've heard that a dozen times, that I've been waiting for years at a time to get their footage. And I don't play the film festival circuit. And even if I was, I would still release my footage because, again, a lot of times people who work with me, most times it's volunteering. And it's just a schmucky thing to do to have someone work their ass off and just not get anything out of it. And so, yeah, if any actor who's worked with me wants their footage, all they have to do is ask me or ask Arnie. We'll give it. Literally, we'll send it to you as soon as we can get our hand, as soon as we can send you the link. So, yeah, definitely, I would encourage people to watch out for that thing. And is it wrong to make a deal with the person? Look, I will work for this on the condition, regardless of when the project gets done, I have my footage by like a month afterwards or something like that, or even the raw material. Is that wrong to ask for something?
I think it's fair to ask, and it's fair to at least have a sense up front of both what the time commitment is going to be for the project and when you may be able to get footage. And obviously there can be glitches, there can be issues in editing, but at least you have some sense going into it that if the person says, well, I know it's going to take 6 months to get you any footage, then you can assess, well, okay, is this something that I feel passionate enough about that I'm going to do it and still not get paid and maybe not get footage for 6 months, versus if it's like a student film and someone's like, oh yeah, this is due in 3 weeks and then I can get you the footage after that, then at least you have sort of a more concise timeline on that.
All right, final question. So there's LA, there's New York City, there's Georgia, right? That's the big one now.
Atlanta,
Atlanta, Georgia. That's the next big one. Is there any other big one? Obviously Toronto. is a big area, but in America we're talking about. And now Boston is growing. Someone lives in the New England area. And they want to pursue this. They're very serious about this. Is it worth it to stay in New England? Would you say at this point in time, or should they be going if they want to make this their absolute career and they're 100% in it and their bags are packed, ready to go to wherever they need to go? They prefer to stay in New England, but is it worth it to stay in New England? Would you say right now, or should they be looking elsewhere?
Well, the pandemic has changed the sort of answer on that a bit. Prior to there being a global pandemic, I would say that Boston is an awesome place to get your start. And if you have ties here for career reasons or family reasons or things like that, you can do really well here. I mean, I have actors who are consistently booking speaking roles in the movies, in TV shows. Ultimately, if you stay here, it's unlikely you're ever going to break through and get a reoccurring guest star role in a TV show or a major lead role in a movie. But you can definitely do well here. I always encourage my actors, if you do want to go to New York or Los Angeles or now Atlanta, that you shouldn't go until you feel like you're ready and feel like you're competitive in those markets. Ultimately, the difference is being in Boston, it's just going to be easier to get jobs and get a reel. There may only be 10 people applying for a speaking role in an Emerson graduate film, but there could be 1,500 people applying for a lead role in an NYU or a USC student. Right. So if you get to Los Angeles and you don't have that clips, if you don't have that reel in place, I've known a lot of people who it's taken them years to sort of get to that point where if they had really put their mind to it in Boston, they might have been able to pull that off in 12 months, but then years go by in Los Angeles and they've run out of money and they still don't have a reel and they don't have an agent because they don't have great clips and they don't have a resume, versus people I've known who have gone to New York or LA, having been successful in Boston, learning how to hustle, learning how to find work on their own, learning how to work with an agent, learning how to book work, then they put themselves in a much better position to be successful in New York or Los Angeles and find quality representation there, and really hit the ground running when they get there.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tim Ayer. We're out of time right now, but I want to thank you for coming on the show. I don't know if you sticking around for the game or are you out of here?
Sure.
All right, awesome. So thank you, Tim Ayer. MonoClubIncorporated.com. If you want to find out more information. There's been a wealth of knowledge coming from this guy. And we're going to break. When we come back, we're going to have our game hosted by their very own Mitch Fortier. We'll be back.
I wish someone would come up with a new idea for the show.
Seriously, Terry, I think we should start talking about politics on the show.
Seriously, Mitch, I think we should start talking about your position on the show.
Seriously, I'm going to go.
Competitive game.
Competitive, get out.
Got it.
Sports! No, Dave.
Hey, Terry.
Hey, Steve. Go home.
Going.
Story time. You're changed now.
So, Terry. Why are you not in the sketch?
Welcome back to the Early Late Night Live Show. The final quarter of our show has been devoted to a game segment because we couldn't figure out what the hell to do with it in the past. So now we know it's a game segment. And it's been going pretty good since me and Arnie are not allowed to handle the game anymore. We turned it over to a man who is very detailed-oriented, Mitch Fortier, and he's got a game for us this week. Right, Mitch?
Oh, crap. I was supposed to play in a game for this week?
Mitch. Darn it, man. Seriously, Mitch?
I liked your game last week, actually. I actually thought that was pretty cool. You guys are kind of coming up with descriptions of films without trying to give too much away, and you had to name what the film was, I guess, or a series. The
first one I did was I actually said the name. You have to describe the Star Wars movies. What I said.
Yeah.
Right off the bat.
That was great. That was good. You went off book in terms of what I had, kind of put together, which is obviously fine because now I have more to choose from. So you didn't use up one of my options, which is great.
Rebel, that's what we do.
Yeah. All right, so one of my favorite warm-ups. We're gonna do a little warm-up. Everybody gets to participate. We're gonna go around the horn.
Okay.
I'm gonna play along too. So do this for a minute or two. And Tim, I'm going to ask you to start. Name a famous actor, and when you do, then the next person will take the first letter of their last name and come up with somebody else whose first name begins with that letter. We'll just go around the list. So it's the name an actor, somebody famous, and we'll take the first letter of their last name. The next person will find somebody whose first name begins with that letter.
So we're going clockwise. It'll be Tim, me, you, Mitch, and then Arnie.
Yeah, let's see. Tim, yes, that would. Yep, let's do that. Clockwise.
Why don't we start with Brad Pitt? You've got an easy letter to work off of.
Yeah.
P?
P, yeah. I'm trying to think of a name to be. So first name begins with P. Pierre Rumpf. There we go. He's a local actor.
He's locally famous, I guess.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy, yeah.
So it's R to Mitch.
R to Mitch.
Let's see. Wow. Oh my goodness. R?
Yeah, R. Yeah.
Pierre
Roger Moore.
Oh, good one. Good one.
All right, so like, oh, that's not a real person. I was so I have to start with M. So that would be Michael Caine.
All right.
So I've got C.
Yeah.
C, yeah.
Charlton Heston.
Nice.
Oh, okay. Hugh Grant.
Nice.
I don't know if he's famous or not. He's a friend of mine. There's a friend of mine with this name, I should say. There's a friend of mine with this name, but I think there's a famous actor too. Gail Godot.
Oh, yeah, Gal Gadot. Yeah.
Gal Gadot.
So,
You have a friend named Gal Gadot?
No. Guy Martineau.
Oh.
Is there an actor named Guy Martineau? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, wait a minute. Is it Gal Gadot to me or
Yes.
Martineau?
Yeah, Gal Gadot.
Gadot.
Oh, okay. Gregory Peck then.
All right, finish this off, Tim.
Wait, and what was yours?
Gregory Peck.
So I got P.
P's hard. It's not
Pamela
easy.
Anderson. No. Why is the girl thinking her?
I thought I got one too.
I'm just joking.
Paul Newman.
There you go.
I was thinking Penelope Cruz.
Pee Wee Herman.
Now all the P's are coming.
Now all the P's are coming. Yeah. All right. What's the game?
Well, we're gonna move on to the next game here. So that more or less a warm up, but this one's a little bit different and strange. I don't know how much fun it's gonna be, but we're gonna try this on. So obviously, I'm trying to oversell the funness of this game.
Yes, you're a great son. This is gonna be weird. We're probably not gonna enjoy it, but it is a game.
But you're gonna do it anyways, and you're gonna like it. You're gonna lie to me if you have to.
That sounds like when my mom tried to get us to clean the house. We'll put on music and you will have a good time and we will clean.
So all right. So we're gonna do this. All right. So there's gonna be a letter. Okay.
Okay.
Somebody's gonna say a letter. The next person has to say another letter. I'm gonna stay out of this one because it's gonna get really confusing, I think, and not go well. All right. So I'm gonna say.
You're really winning us over with this game.
Yeah. I'm going to give you a letter. The next person adds a letter to that that continues a word they're thinking of. Okay, so if I'm thinking of the word apple, I'll say A. And then Tim could say X. You might say, thinking axle. And then Terry would say another letter. After that, you're spelling your word using the letters that were given to you previously.
Okay.
Now,
Most homeschoolers are really good at spelling bees. I'm not one of them, though.
All right, so
I'm just a writer. I'm just.
All right, so now you can call somebody's bluff if they give you a letter and the series of letters that don't make a word. So, for example, if I say A and Tim says X and Terry says BS, then Tim has to tell us what the word was.
Oh, I like
Now,
this.
if you think you can try to call them out or get somebody else stuck and try to keep it going, then you can say the letter, to add a word.
All right.
Whatever.
Okay.
Everybody got it? Pretty good?
Yeah.
Clear? All right.
I think so.
Cool. All right. So I'm just going to start things off with actually, you know what, Tim? The guest of the show, why don't you start us off with a letter of a word that you're thinking of?
B.
B. All right.
B as in boy.
Okay. A.
G.
Tim, I think it's you.
Bluffing is.
Oh.
What?
S.
What was.
What?
So you said S. So BAGS. So that spells a word.
It does spell a word. So is it like stop now? Because I can't think of. I can't think of another word after that.
Well, no, you could have.
Badger,
Yeah, right. Yeah, so basically, if somebody gets stumped or a word gets completed and you can't go any further, then everybody passes, and therefore the word is, the game ends. So
Got it. I passed.
So, all right. KJ?
So do I keep spelling my own word as we're going?
I think the idea is essentially everybody gets a turn to put at least one letter in it, and then at some point somebody needs to complete a word. And if you do,
right.
and
but you don't
pass
put
everybody else
in
passes,
without
then
knowing what the word is.
Yeah. So I didn't give you the object of the game. It's to complete a word and get everybody else to pass.
So does that mean Tim wins if we both pass?
Or call somebody else out.
All right.
So let's try this again. We'll see how it goes.
All right.
All right. So Terry, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
All right. G. The letter G.
R.
A.
T.
E.
What letter?
E.
E.
As in egg.
Yep. All right.
R.
BS. What's the word?
So Tim, if you can come up with a word that starts with those letters.
Was it GRATER?
Yeah, I don't think greater is a word, but I.
Not spelled like that. No.
Well, no, grater is like a cheese grater.
He's greater.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't think Tim thought about that, but Arnie saves him because she's like that, and she doesn't know why Batman exists. She basically is like, "Why does Batman exist?" For all you Batman,
That was not what I said.
I was like, why is there Batman? Nobody likes Batman. We all hate Batman. Don't we all hate Batman? That's how Arnie feels. Arnie
I am
hates
grossly misquoted here.
Batman.
How dare they make another Batman?
Wow.
How dare they make another Batman? Anyways, guys, we got to wrap up the show.
Oh, good.
Always end the show with crapping on Arnie. That's what I say every night, Tim Ayer, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was very insightful and very informative. What was that?
I said thanks for having me. That was fun.
Oh, well, you're welcome back at any time. We'd love to have you back on the show, especially further down the line. Hopefully, when this pandemic thing clears up. If not, would like to know how people can keep on moving forward, keep on trucking on. I'm glad to hear that you are. Mitch Fortier, thanks for showing up, mate. Really appreciate you.
It's always a pleasure, my friend.
Yeah.
Next week I'll come up with worse games.
By the way, so I think we are in 3 separate states tonight. You got a couple Massachusetts people, 3 New Hampshire people, and a Maynard, I'm pretty sure. So, well, the Maynard one I know about because that's where I am. So
Good stuff.
that one That one I should be sure of. I don't know what state I'm
Yeah,
in.
we wouldn't have had Tim on if ultimately because he's just so busy and in Boston. So it would have been tough to get up here and get back home in reasonable
Yeah.
time.
It was perfect. It was perfect to be able to commute to my basement to do the show tonight.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Awesome. Well, anyways, KJ, you're here.
I am.
Anyways, we're out of here. Arnie, who's our guest for next week?
Oh, it's the cast and the director and writer of the new movie Summer. So that would be Jen Drummond, Jen with one N, and Mark Haggett. Yep. So looking forward to that.
All right. Well, look forward to them being on next week at 7 o'clock on the Early Late Night Live Show. Thank you to our audience. Thank you to our guests. Thank you to everyone out there who's supporting the show. Please continue to support the show. We need help because we feel bad about ourselves most days. But we'll be back next week. We'll see you.
Hey, thanks for watching the Early Late Night Live Show. We are on every Wednesday night live at Exeter Studios in Exeter, New Hampshire, 7 p.m. every Wednesday night. Please make sure to join us next week for more entertainment, comedy, and information that is probably not that important or timely. But no sports and no politics, so there's that. To find out more about my film company, make sure to check out NarrowStreetFilms.com. To find out more about Killarney's writing, make sure you check out KillarneyTraynor.com. To find out more about Mitch and his acting, I'm sure he's got a website. I keep forgetting the name of it. I'll write it down here. To find out more about the wonderful studio that we produce at Exeter Studio, go to exeternh.tv. They're a great studio and they're doing a lot of cool things. But please make sure to like us on Facebook and please, please, please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell and like, and make sure that you share with your friends and enemies alike because we don't judge that much. See you next week.